400 million years ago, long before the first dinosaurs, mammals, or birds, Earth was a very different planet. Vast oceans dominated the surface, filled with strange fish, armored creatures, and the earliest sharks. On land, there were no towering forests or great herds of animals, only mosses, fungi, and the beginnings of primitive plants clinging to the soil. The land was empty, silent, and untouched. But that silence was about to be broken. From the ancient seas would come a creature that changed everything. Its name is Tiktaalik, and it represents one of the most important steps in the history of life, the transition from water to land. Tiktaalik lived around 375 million years ago, during the Devonian period, sometimes called the Age of Fishes. At this time, fish ruled the seas. They had evolved into a wide variety of forms, some with jaws, some armored, and some with primitive lungs. It was in shallow, swampy environments that a remarkable experiment in evolution unfolded. Tiktaalik was a fish, but not just any fish. It had features that made it an extraordinary bridge between aquatic life and the first land-dwelling vertebrates. The discovery of Tiktaalik in 2004 on Ellesmere Island in the Canadian Arctic was one of the most significant paleontological finds of the 21st century. Its fossil remains revealed a creature about 9 feet long, with scales and gills like a fish, but also a flat head, mobile neck, and strong, jointed fins capable of supporting its weight. In many ways, Tiktaalik looked like a cross between a crocodile and a giant salamander, yet it was neither. It was something entirely new, an animal caught in the act of becoming something else. One of the most striking features of Tiktaalik was its fins. Most fish have fins designed only for swimming, flexible, and lightweight. Tiktaalik's fins, however, contained bones resembling the upper arm, forearm, and even primitive wrist joints. These structures gave it the ability to push itself up in shallow water, pop itself against riverbeds, and even make short forays onto muddy land. While it was not walking in the way later amphibians would, Tiktaalik's fins were the first real step toward legs. In its body, we can see the blueprint of every arm, leg, and hand that would follow. Its head also tells a story. Unlike most fish, Tiktaalik had a neck. This meant it could move its head independently of its body, a crucial adaptation for life on land. In the water, gills filter oxygen, but Tiktaalik also had lungs, allowing it to breathe air when oxygen levels in stagnant swamps dropped. This dual system of gills and lungs was another key advantage, bridging the gap between aquatic and terrestrial life. Why would a fish need to venture onto land in the first place? The Devonian world was full of competition. In shallow waters, food could run short and oxygen levels could dip dangerously low. But on land, plants and insects were beginning to spread, offering untapped resources. By hauling itself onto mudflats or peeking out of shallow pools, Tiktaalik could exploit new food sources and escape aquatic predators. This evolutionary gamble gave it an edge, and it opened the door to an entirely new way of life. Tiktaalik was not the first animal ever to leave the water arthropods like scorpions, and millipedes had already made their way onto land, but it was the first vertebrate to attempt it. This distinction matters because Tiktaalik represents the ancestor of all tetrapods, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Every step taken by a human, every flap of a bird's wing, every leap of a frog, all can be traced back to the moment when creatures like Tiktaalik first dragged themselves onto land. The fossil record helps us trace this incredible transition. Before Tiktaalik, creatures like Eusthenopteran were essentially lobe-finned fish with rudimentary limb bones. After Tiktaalik came animals like Acanthostega and Ichthyostega, which had fully developed limbs and digits, capable of walking on land more effectively. Tiktaalik sits in the middle of this evolutionary chain, filling a long missing puzzle piece. Its discovery confirmed predictions scientists had made based on evolutionary theory and earlier fossils. Life for Tiktaalik was not easy. Its swampy habitats were unstable, filled with predators like giant fish known as placoderms. These armored giants could grow up to 20 feet long and were formidable hunters. Tiktaalik, though large itself, had to navigate these dangers while adapting to its semi-terrestrial life. Its flat skull and upward-facing eyes suggested hunted in shallow water, lying in wait like a crocodile for prey to swim by. Its sharp teeth made it an effective predator of fish, amphibians, and perhaps even small invertebrates crawling near the water's edge. But Tiktaalik's true legacy lies not in its daily life, but in what it represents. This creature embodies a turning point in evolution, a bold experiment in leaving the safety of the water to conquer new territory. Once vertebrates set foot on land, they diversified into countless forms. Amphibians gave rise to reptiles, reptiles to mammals and dinosaurs, and from one branch of the dinosaur family came birds. Without Tiktaalik and its kind, the story of life on land, including the story of humans, would never have happened. The significance of Tiktaalik's discovery goes beyond biology. It speaks to the power of science and prediction. Paleontologists had long theorized that a transitional form between fish and tetrapods should exist in rocks about 375 million years old. They looked specifically in areas where such rocks were exposed, like the Canadian Arctic. When they found Tiktaalik, it was as if evolution had left a calling card, confirming what theory had suggested. This triumph of both fossil hunting and evolutionary science captured the imagination of scientists and the public alike. Looking at Tiktaalik, we see the deep history written in our own bodies. Our arms and legs, our necks, even our ability to breathe air, are echoes of this ancient fish's adaptations. Each step we take today carries with it the memory of Tiktaalik's first tentative push onto land. Evolution is not just about the survival of species, it is about the continuity of life, a thread that connects us to creatures long vanished yet still present in our anatomy. Tiktaalik also reminds us of the fragility of ecosystems and the creativity of life under pressure. Faced with low oxygen and crowded swamps, it innovated developing structures that would redefine what was possible. Evolution is not purposeful, but it is relentless. And Tiktaalik's success shows how small changes can ripple forward through millions of years to shape the entire future of life. Today, Tiktaalik is celebrated as one of the great icons of paleontology. Its fossils are studied in detail, revealing not only bones but impressions of muscle attachment and movement. Scientists reconstruct how it might have pushed through water, crawled on mud, or ambushed prey. In museums, models of Tiktaalik captivate visitors, showing a creature at once familiar and alien, a snapshot of evolution in action. Imagine standing by a Devonian swamp, watching as Tiktaalik slowly pulls itself from the water, its fins pressing against the mud. The air is thick with humidity, the land quiet except for the buzz of insects. With each effortful heave, this ancient creature pushes into a new world, a world it was never fully adapted for, but would help transform forever. It is a moment that resonates across time, a moment that set in motion the story of life as we know it. Tiktaalik may be long extinct, but its legacy lives on in every step taken on solid ground. From its humble beginnings in shallow pools, it opened the door for forests, reptiles, mammals, birds, and ultimately, us. The first creature to walk on land was not majestic in the way we imagine great dinosaurs or mammoths, but its impact was greater than any giant. It was the pioneer, the first explorer, the ancestor of all who would one day inherit the earth. The silence of the Devonian swamps was broken by the sound of a fish becoming something more. Tiktaalik represents possibility, change, and the extraordinary power of life to adapt. Its story is not just ancient history, it is our story too,